Hello, this is Cynthia Mazzaferro with Powerful Beyond Measure, and I am so excited today to have another fabulous author, Karen Brown. How are you, Karen?
I am fabulous as well. Nice to be here, Cindy, and nice to be with your audience.
Great, great. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Karen before we actually dive into her book. It's an amazing book, but I want to tell you a little bit about Karen, who she really is. She's a business psychology coach and a CEO of Velocity Leadership Consulting, an executive coaching company offering business psychology and transformational coaching to CEOs, executives, and managers who are pursuing greater results in their professional and personal lives. She is also a keynote speaker, best-selling author, ultra athlete, and finisher of the toughest race in the world. And we were going to talk about that. Unlimiting Your Beliefs, 7 Keys to Greater Success in Your Personal and Professional Life is an authoritative roadmap with a good dose of inspiration and relatability for every reader. So it gives me great privilege to actually bring to you Karen. So Karen, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for such a warm and incredible welcome, Cindy. Wow.
Well, it's wonderful. I love interviewing authors, and I love your story. And it's an amazing feat that you took on yourself, and I want to get into that. What made you actually pursue these really struggles and challenges, and really it's climbing a mountain is amazing. So let's get into this. So you'll see your beautiful backdrop of your area is the book cover of your book, Unlimiting Your Beliefs. And most of you all that follow me know that we all have unlimited beliefs. So we're going to dive into that. So I'd like to ask you, Karen, right up front, what prompted you to write Unlimiting Your Beliefs?
Great question. It was my struggle with limiting beliefs for 28 years. When I thought about pursuing the Ironman World Championships, and it's those limiting beliefs that held me back all that time, those instantaneous, doubtful beliefs that popped up like, well, I'm an amateur athlete, they're professional athletes, I couldn't possibly do that, they're up here and I'm down here, and just in a split second, I would talk myself out of it every time.
Exactly. And so what I want to ask you, though, is what made you take on such a huge task? Some people might say, I'll do a half a marathon or a 5K, but to take on such a monumental challenge, a personal challenge, what made you feel like you needed to endeavor this, to pursue this?
I had been an athlete my entire life in the recreational sense. And I had seen the Ironman World Championships on TV when I was 14 years old and was mesmerized by it. I didn't have any idea what it was, what would compel people to go through that much pain and suffering. And yet it was sort of like looking at a train wreck. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. And I felt something deep inside where I wondered if I could do it. Like I felt a connection to it, a very emotional connection to it. And so I sort of dismissed it, like I said, through limiting beliefs. And yet I did things like a 10K, and then I did a half marathon and things like that, not only in running, also in mountain biking and other things that are in the book, other sports. But it was the Ironman that just really, it caused me to break out into a cold sweat and to think about really pushing the boundaries of what I thought was my comfort zone. And sorry.
So what I wanted to say to you, because not everyone is going to climb that summit, to reach that pinnacle. And when I read your book, I really fell in love with the part of your story that you were also struggling within your own personal life. You had some challenges with your marriage, with pursuing your own passions, not just what was his passions in the military world. And then you also shared a little bit about your family history with your father not being there. And one of the things you said to me in the book was that I had to prove myself. Those were your words. I had to prove myself. And it seemed like that was an underlying theme, no matter what you were doing, whether it was your own passion, making dinner or pursuing your own interests or even going to the pinnacle of the Ironman. So can you just talk a little bit about that? Because I really believe that our pasts do have significant imprinting on what brings us and drives us to that course, that race that we need to pursue later in our lives.
Yes, absolutely. What it was for me was this nagging feeling inside that grew over time that I was playing small, like I had much greater capabilities and purpose than I was living and tapping into. And every time I did something that I knew I could do, that was well within my comfort zone, that nagging feeling grew. And yet then when I thought about the Ironman World Championships, that felt like perhaps the opener, the gateway to maybe what I was meant to do or what I could do. And that's where, proving myself to myself really was what I had in mind.
Right. You actually were stepping into your own greatness, and the race gave you permission to see yourself as this great athlete, but also a great person that is able to pursue and overcome adversity. And one of the things I loved in your book, you talked about habit change. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that. And I think that's great. And even your Bob Craney, your physical therapist who wrote your foreword, he talked about mindset and attitude is absolutely everything. And so could you talk a little bit about that, how those aspects really were so vital and important in your pursuit?
Yes. So mindset and habit change they really go hand in hand, because it was changing my habitual thoughts of, I don't know that I can do that, to I am doing that. I am going to do that. And all that it took to actually do it. So it was, and that's why the book is titled Unlimiting Your Beliefs, because it really starts with changing those limited beliefs to unlimiting them. And it's actually a process that I explain in the book that's very helpful with any limiting belief in any area of your life.
I love that because we are the creator, the master of our ship and the race and how we're going to pursue it. And I love that. So if I had to ask you, what would be your biggest lesson that you've learned along the whole way?
Oh, the biggest lesson I've learned is that we can do far more than we think we're capable of. And it truly is boundless. We are boundless as beings. And we're really only limited by the level or the size of our thoughts.
I love that. So let's get into the preparation, the groundwork, the build up to the Ironman. I mean, you had the ultimate goal, and I often talk to my clients, and I know you probably do as you're coaching, is action steps. How do we get to our final pinnacle? We'll use that finish line, although it never ends because there's always another new goal. But how do we create those small action steps? How do you prepare and get physically fit and mentally fit and emotionally fit to really support that?
Well, that's a great question, because for me in this journey, it was finding out what I didn't even know that I didn't even know yet. Right? I was brand new to the world of triathlon, and in fact, you could say I was a fish out of water. I mean, I really wasn't a swimmer. I hadn't grown up swimming. I could get in the pool without drowning, but that was about it. I didn't own a road bike. I had never ridden one. Primarily, I was a recreational runner and a mountain biker. So what I quickly realized was, if I wanted to do something that I had never done before, I would need to do something differently than I had ever done before. And for me, actually, it came as a suggestion from someone else when I verbalized what I was pursuing. And their suggestion was, I bet you want to hire a coach, right? And it was like the skies opened up, and the light shone down, and I thought, yeah, that's right. I really don't know what I'm doing here. I don't really even know the first step other than making the decision to do it and going all in. So that was the big catalyst, in not only getting my mind right, also then filling in each one of those incremental steps and putting it all together to get there.
Right. And it is so important. The first thing is to have that internal desire, whatever it is you want to achieve. And then you have to say, I need people to support me that are backing me. And I know in your book, there was that struggle that you didn't always, like your husband didn't initially support you on that, but your sister and your good friend did, and Crystal, and all these different people. And when you're with people that support you and a coach who can educate you and teach you, and you even brought in the medical team of what was your resting heart rate, what's the right word, of the challenge heart rate that you're allowed to exercise at, you needed to have that information to be able to push yourself to step into your fears and unknown and really challenge yourself. And can you just speak to the lay person before we talk more about what this Ironman race is really like? For the more lay person or not the athlete person, we have challenges in our life, and how can we prepare and step into those fears? What would you give them as a real tidbit of help here?
Oh, surround yourself with believers, people that believe in you. Like you mentioned, my sister and my best friend, they didn't flinch. They didn't bat an eye when I shared this dream with them. Their immediate response was, I know you can do it, and I will do whatever it takes to support you in it. So yeah, surround yourself with people that believe in you 100%, and they will continue to support you and back you up, because times are going to get tough, and you're going to have some challenges, and you're going to have to work through it. And it's those people that will help get you through it when you're faced with those challenges.
Exactly. I so agree with you. So let's go into the book a little bit more. Can you tell me about the 7 keys to that greater success in your personal and professional life? What are the 7 keys?
Yeah. The 7 keys are: number 1, tap into the dream. Number 2, make a decision and verbalize it. Number 3, conquer limiting beliefs. Number 4, hire a coach. Number 5, do what it takes. 6, know discipline, which is a bit of a play on words. And number 7, hit your goals, celebrate the victory, set new goals, and dream again.
I think those are so great. And it really completes the cycle, it completes the marathon of what you have to do to complete the race, the goal. And I think it's so important that even each of those steps is a victory in itself. Even being able to identify what your goal is a success, because so often I teach people, I say, well, what do you want? They're like, oh, I don't know. It's like not even knowing. So being clear about what your goal is so really critical to be able to be successful in achieving it. Having that clarity is really important.
Yeah. And let me take that one step further. I love that you brought that up. The 7 keys are really those incremental steps that you referred to along the way once you are clear on the goal that you want to achieve. And, for folks out there who have achieved goals like this, whether they're athletic or any other type of goal, because this translates through all types of goals, these are actually the incremental steps that cause success and make it easier for you to be successful. Right. So that's why I wanted to write the book and share them with the world and make it available to everyone, no matter what they want to achieve.
And your book is so profound, but I must say it did not really articulate your fears. I would like you to share with the audience really the fears that how did it really hit you hard deep inside of you? What were your greatest fears?
Oh, my greatest fear was, what if I can't do this? What if I'm not as capable as I feel that I am? What if I look like a complete failure? What am I going to do then? What if the naysayers are right?
Right. I told you so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, yep, I told you couldn't do it.
So there's a part of the personal letting yourself down, feeling inadequate or not capable, and then there's how are you going to be viewed by the external world. So it comes from the internal drama and vision of yourself and how we equate success, and as well as the external world. And surrounding your people, like you said, and having that coach is so elemental in really continuing that energy and the vision and belief that you can achieve, which is so important.
Yes, yes, and worth risking, and you're setting yourself up for success then, not failure. It's totally worth the risk of those fears.
I love that. Yes, it is. It is absolutely, because if you don't step into the fears, you've already failed.
Right.
There can never be success. You failed because you haven't even attempted that first step into that pursuit, that dream.
Yes.
Well, this is great. So tell me a little bit more about psychology coach, which is what you are. And I know you work in the business world primarily, although I'm sure you work with athletes as well and other people.
Yes, it's interesting because athletes typically have athletic, I say in quotes, athletic coaches, which is great. And this is why what we do is called business psychology coaching primarily. First of all, because it makes it easier for people to understand. Mm-hmm. And secondly, because it's in every realm. Yes, it's in athletics, also non-athletics, business world. Specifically, we work with folks in uncovering and resolving their behavioral blind spots. It causes them to be able to create higher levels of success for themselves.
Right, right. And it's so important in everyone's life. And I want people that are listening to this and watching this video to realize that you don't have to be the ultra marathon or ultra athlete, that this book is going to transcend and be applicable for your day-to-day life and really awakening your desires. What are your inner desires? Are you living the life that everyone else has kind of delegated for you to do? You know, to be the wife, to be the mother, to be the second breadwinner or primary breadwinner, and that all of a sudden your passions have been squelched and they're lying dormant within you. And this book brings that quest for you to explore what it is that really is lying within you and wants to be birthed and born. And yeah. I love that.
Well said. Absolutely. Yeah, and it allows all of us to tap into that, right? Because we all have that, especially when we're working with client partners. You know, often we'll ask a question like, you know, what was your childhood dream? Mm-hmm. Or what is the dream that you gave up on or kind of shoved aside, you know, somewhere in your life? And it's amazing the things that we hear. Everybody has one or several.
Right. It's true. So I'd love to have you share a little bit about how you grew in faith. You do talk about God in your book, how that relationship became very important and necessary. And then maybe you want to share a little bit more about the Iron Man and tell us what the three different legs are. And of course, tell us the victory.
Oh, absolutely. So yes, my faith expanded exponentially in this endeavor. And again, it goes back to, you know, not knowing what I was going to do, not having any earthly idea how to do this massive thing that I wanted to do, that I felt like I maybe could do. And so I thought, all right, well, just like I'm asking for help from a coach, I'm going to ask dear God for help. I'm just going to ask him, you know, hey, will you please help me, you know, bring the people and the resources in my life that I'm going to need to get this done? And will you give me the wisdom and the strength to see this through? Literally, that was my prayer twice a day, sometimes a lot of times every day. And, you know, every time I would ask for help, almost immediately or the very next morning, something that I needed would show up. A person, a conversation, a resource, an article, a piece of information, whatever it was. It was just absolutely uncanny and divinely intentioned. So
it's amazing because those symbols, those synchronicities, if you will, messaging, it comes in all different forms and just what you need to hear at the moment that you're asking for that guidance and support. And having faith in yourself, in your relationship with the higher being, whatever you call that, creator, universe, God, whatever word you use, is really not important. It's just having that connection to something greater than yourself that wants you to excel, wants you to bring joy and thrive in your lessons. Let me ask you one quick question. So it was really important for you to prove yourself. And now that you have done this amazing feat, accomplished the Ironman, finished it, do you still feel there's a need to still prove yourself to yourself and to others?
No, what it turned into was a gateway to continue to expand myself and to expand my mindset and my horizon, if you will. So Ironman at the time was the biggest thing that I could fathom. And what I found upon achieving it is that it was a gateway to what I was meant to do in my life. To be an author and a speaker and, CEO of a big company, and to really being able to help other people, realize their potential in their life. And so really it was just a gateway to further expansion and exploration.
Right. And so if you haven't heard about that Ironman, it's a triathlete event. Do you want to just share with the audience what that really entails?
Yes. So the Ironman is a sanctioned triathlon, which is made up of a 2.4-mile swim, followed by a 112-mile bike ride, finished off with a marathon, which is 26.2 miles of running. And it's all done back to back in one day, and you have 17 hours to do it. Now, the Ironman World Championships then is the world championships of all the Ironman races, which there are about 50 of across the globe. And you have to qualify for coveted 2,000 slots at the World Championships. This race was created to bring out the best of the best. And usually of the 2,000 competitive slots for that race, most of them, 90%, go to professional athletes across the world that are very, very talented, honestly, far more talented naturally than I am, and who probably make a living at, racing every day and training. I'm a regular Jane, walking down the street. I am not a naturally talented athlete. I just have to work really hard at it. And about 90,000 athletes try for one of those 2,000 coveted spots every year. So it's, there are athletes that have been trying for years and years and years to get into the race. This is where I really felt like divine providence took over because I was able to start pursuing and then accomplish the dream in 2 years.
That's amazing. And I love that you said that it really was a gateway. And I so believe this, and we speak in a different language in a way, but the same topic. And that is, I have to say, when you're following your divine journey, you're on the right path, that the universe, like the wind behind you, is pushing you. The current is pushing you and expanding your opportunity. It's like that gateway, like you said, it expands your opportunities beyond what you can imagine with your mind. We are so limited in our thought process, and the universe just supports you in just amazing ways. So I love that analogy you used.
Yes, and let me add on to that. That's a great point, Cindy. It's the convergence of that divine providence, as I said, and also the power of your unconscious mind, because your unconscious mind literally hears, I want to achieve, the Ironman, and then starts to pursue and find and look for all of those resources that are going to help you make it happen, right? So it's that marriage, if you will, of divine providence and the strength of your unconscious mind going to work together.
And it's law of attraction for other people that are more familiar with that word. You're attracting what you need, what is required to help bring you to a successful result. And I also love to think of it, as I was reading your book, I was thinking about each leg of the Ironman was like another part of a struggle that you were incurring. Yes, it was one race, but there was three main parts that you had to prepare singularly for and get the endurance and the technique and the apparel and things like that you needed to get that success. But that's kind of like, no matter what you want to do, you want to make a souffle, you have to have, there's steps to it. And so I encourage everyone that is aspiring to reach a goal in your life, to unwrap this passion, to realize that there's steps that you have to take, and that you talk about this divine providence that's going to support you and be brought into your life. So this has been really amazing, Karen. So tell us when your book is available, where they can reach it, and where they can reach you on your website, for example.
Yes. So the book is available for pre-order right now at unlimitingyourbeliefs.com. So you can go there and get assured that you'll get one of the first copies that rolls off the press on January 9th, 2018.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Yes. Also, if you pre-order now, the book makes a great gift for leaders or aspiring leaders who want to develop themselves further. And you can get a hold of me at velocityleadership.com.
Great. Well, it's a wonderful book, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I really encourage all of you to make 2018 a year that allows you to change your habits, change your mindset and attitude, and allow you to be the victor in your Ironman race as well. So thank you, Karen, so much for being with us. I wish you much success in your book and your speaking, coaching career. And everyone, go out and get a copy for yourself and get one for a friend or family. Thanks for being here, Karen.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Great. Thank you again for joining me. I'll see you next week with another fabulous author and their book. Take care and have a great day.